What's going on, everybody? It is Luke, and today we are going to be talking about how much do virtual assistants cost? What do I pay? Where to know how to pay them? Where to get a VA from? How to go about all that? Because, you know, it is a question that's asked in the groups, and you are more than welcome to just ask and find out in like Mr. FBA UK Facebook group. And there's going to be plenty of people there that will actually, you know, give you an overall understanding of what the average sort of cost is. But I'm going to run over what I pay my VAs. I'm going to roughly explain why, and just go over a couple of scenarios that you can do when, you know, deciding what to pay your VA. So let's start the story off. I had a virtual assistant back a couple of years ago now, and I just had them 1 day a week, and I was looking at how much I was paying them. And so obviously when it's 1 day a week, I didn't want a full-time person. And I found that, you know, it sounds great, but actually, because they're only working 1 day a week, really they're not spending that energy on you. So I would always suggest getting a full-time VA, but I would actually possibly say, if you can't afford it, go in with somebody where you are all sharing the same either deals or admin tasks, and they'll just, you know, the VA will go through and do the job for each person. So if it's recording purchases every day, they'll do it for 2 or 3 or 4 people, yeah, and then you'll split the cost. But that way, they're still getting paid a full-time wage, and they are dedicated to you, and that's what's important, I feel, because then their energy and their emotional, you know, connection to working is obviously just one time, full time for one company, not working 1 day, maybe thinking, oh, I've got to go and get another job here and here, and it starts to sort of dilute that attention away from that individual company, which is you, of course. So that's just my two cents, is that what I say? Two pence on the matter. So when I had an old VA, I paid him about 1,500 PHP, Filipino pesos, per every 2 weeks. So just so you can go ahead and see. Well, so it was like 1,500. I did actually have it here. So 1 day a week, 3,000 PHP into 2 lots. So yeah, so they got basically 2 days was that. I know it looks like no money. Back then I'm not sure what the exchange rate actually was. It was like many years ago now. It's probably down here. It kind of looks like it might be that they got more, or it costs, whatever it is. That was only a year ago anyway. It was over here somewhere. And yeah, so they and that's not a lot. It's not a lot of money, but it is enough money for them, because they are, you know, I think she was a student and she was happy to get an extra bit of income more than anything. Yeah. And she was good enough. Since I've taken on full-time staff, not only are they obviously working more efficiently and improving and want to improve because they work full-time, but I invest my energy better with them because I know they are there full-time and my money is going to them, which is more than, you know, 20 quid every so often. So your care and attention to them is a lot higher. And again, you can really build them into something over the long term. It's like a project, you know, rather than someone just 1 day a week that you speak to just, you know, here and there, and you don't really get to connect like that. So the 2 places that you can go to get a VA, I have mentioned in a previous episode, that the VA course is, you can go to Fast Track FBA, which I'll go over a little bit in a second, just to explain some of the things they provide. But you can go ahead and go on onlinejobs.ph. And what you can do is you can go ahead and just have a look. I just typed in Amazon Virtual Assistants, and you can go ahead and look and just have a little bit of a gander. Just go ahead, look at the price, look at what they do, look at their experience. Of course, you've got to pay for this if you actually want it. This is a very unusual text format, but okay. So it costs. Let's go back. Come, you can do this. If you want to go ahead and look at the pricing, you can actually now do free trial. Perfect. So you might want to just give that a go and have a look. Use it as like research. Otherwise, it will cost money. And I've done this before with the first VA, and it was okay. But the problem is I don't know what I'm doing when I hire people. And so I use this as a good reference point, but then I do trust people to actually do it for me. And that's why I did go to Fast Track FBA. The reason it is, I mentioned in the last one, yes, it does cost, what is it, £597, but that's one off. And my VAs have been with me, you know, 2 of them maybe a year, the other one about 8 months, and there's no reason that they're not going to continue. So if you cut that down into like a 12-month period, that's like 59 quid a month. Or if you keep, you know, if they're there for 2 years, that's like 30 quid a month, yeah? And so really, that's not a lot of money. If you're already paying them like 300 and something pound, whatever it is, full time, and then, you know, a little bit extra, if you were seeing it as, in that sense, what the expense cost per month is, obviously it dilutes as they stay with you longer. But you might want to wonder, how much do I pay my VAs, and why did I choose that amount of money to pay them? Well, I pay them 25,000 PHP in 2 weeks. 2 week segments? Yes, every 2 weeks. So this much every 2 weeks. Now it does fluctuate and it does change. So of course, you know, exchange rates. But roughly I pay them this, and I will pay I have 3 VAs and I pay them the same. And I have given little bonuses here and there for certain projects that might be completed really excellently, and they all get like a 13-month bonus. That's sort of like the thing that happens with online virtual assistants. It seems that on the 13th month they get either it's prorated, or if they're with you a whole year they get 1 month for free, 1 month bonus, I guess. So they would get this much as a bonus, like a Christmas bonus, for example, or prorated if they're with you for less. But that's how much you get every 2 weeks. And you might say, well, how did you get to that figure? You can pay less, and you can pay more. It depends on exactly what you're looking for. So that's why you could go ahead and look at here and just sort of search and get a feel for like what's going on, what the prices are, and stuff like that. But the reason that I chose this is that when you actually sign up through Fast Track FBA, you get asked a questionnaire, lots of details. And what happens is then they recommend you pay this much, because you can pay, an option is 20,000. But that's usually the minimum rate, the going rate. And yeah, that you might find some great VAs at that price. For a little extra, you know, and I share my VAs as well. So I have 3 and I share them with someone else, and they do so much for us, you know. Pretty much 3/4 of the tasks are kind of outsourced. And I could get the whole thing outsourced. It's just that I like to keep control of certain aspects of the business. So the difference there is like 70 quid or whatever it was per month. Now that's half and half, so it's £35 for me and £35 for my friend where we share. And just to make sure you're getting that little extra quality of virtual assistant. And you can see my beautiful dog, Hala. She's modelling, clearly. And so you can also pay higher. You can also say higher. So I actually went to them and said, I'm looking for this, that, and the other. What do you think the going rate should be? And so you can kind of customize it as well. If you're just looking for a general virtual assistant, then fine. Just go with the recommended and, you know, sort of the default settings. It just says recommended because you get asked a questionnaire. But when you're doing it yourself, you kind of got to work it out for yourself. And yes, it might be cheaper, but then if they end up not being that great, and you have to they don't do the work properly, or you've got to get rid of them. You know, it's kind of like, well, why not just pay one-off cost, and then they're up to the standard that you know that's going to work. And there's lots of things that they give you to sort of like, you know, if they're not very good after a couple of weeks, you can get a full refund, or you can get a new one hired for you, and so on and so on. So it's pretty good. Just because I've done both, and I kind of feel like that is the goal. Or you obviously share it with someone else, so the 600 quid or £597 it is to hire them is diluted between 4 people, or 3 or 2. It just depends on how big you are as an Amazon business. But I would say full-time is probably recommended for the attention that you want them to give to your business, basically. Now, some side things in terms of, you know, what, like holiday and contracts and stuff like that. Obviously, you can make your own contract if you want through onlinejobs.ph if you really want, but with Fast Track FBA, they actually do it all for you. So they basically arrange all in the background, all of the details, and you just go ahead and read it and sign. They get 12 days holiday, so 1 day per month as they work for you for holiday, and they have to ask you and so on. And then they get 6 days, which is like bank holidays and Christmas time and certain holidays, basically. So they get 18 days. Of course, you can give them more if you want. You can't give them less, but you can give them more if you want. It just depends on what, you know. And I'm pretty casual. If they say to me, "Can I have tomorrow off?" I'm like, "Yeah, cool." Even if they say, can I have half day off now? But like, yeah, it's fine. Because it's not about the short term, it's about, these people have been with me for a year now, a lot of them, and it's like, they're great, and I don't even give them as much as I could do, and I'm already good, because obviously I like to, not rush the projects, if you get what I mean. Take it slow. And I find that with that contract as well, they see it, they sign it, they feel a little bit more like there's that bond between it, rather than you just going and going, hi, and then you just, they have to hope that you're paying them. They have that extra little bit of security. And you might ask, how do I pay them? I use TransferWise, so I'll block out a lot of this detail. But what you can see here, this is just a little bit of a statement, and it basically shows my transfer per every 2 weeks. I do it 3 times, and my friend will pay me the half. Basically, I'll pay them all, and they'll pay me, and then my friend will pay me the half that obviously we're sharing. And you can see the fees. So I pay 3 VAs, so I have a couple of quid per 2 weeks of fees. Obviously it changes a little bit, and the exchange rate changes a little bit. You just go, you add their bank details to TransferWise, and then it's all set up. You just go in, you pay them and send it, and it costs you, not that much, not really. Obviously if you had 1 VA, it's like 3 quid a month, yeah. So it's not going to break the bank, and it's really quick. They get their money pretty quickly, not always the same day, but usually quick, pretty fast, and it's just really easy. Basically, I just send my money from one of my accounts to TransferWise account, just like a bank transfer, and then I make payments. So I'm going to wrap the video up now. If you are unsure about what the going rate for a VA is, I would definitely say that is the going rate. Now you can pay less. You could even pay like 22,500 maybe, or a bit more if you're looking to do maybe some more specific tasks. But I would say that is, I've got 3 now, and the level is very solid, and you've got that security if that for some reason doesn't work, and once they get handed over to you, you can go ahead and get another one. And all the T's and C's for that that stuff is obviously on the website for Fast Track, or you can go ahead and give it a go, hire in your own. There's nothing wrong with giving it a go. I've done it, so I now know. Doesn't mean that you might be, might have some sort of history and skills, or you might be, I want to give it a go myself. No, great. And you can, just to obviously confirm, 1 month should be fine. You'll get hundreds of applications basically. But the problem is, if you get hundreds, you've got to go through those hundreds of applications, and you've got to decide, well, how do I know which one's best? Because loads of them are great, and that's the problem that I had. And I'd rather remove myself from that and get people that do it for a living, basically. And so, where is it? And so, of course, yes, it might seem like a lot, but if you're splitting it with a couple of people, or you are looking to keep them for over a year, then the cost doesn't really actually become too high. I'm looking to keep my VAs for, as long as, if possible, years. And, I might give them little bonuses here and there just for helping me. One of my VAs built a whole website for me. It's like, I'm not doing that. And I'm getting them to do tasks over time that weren't even in their original job title, but it's just fun. Like, they want to do new tasks, and so, but because they feel like they're kind of connecting with the business, obviously starting at a decent wage for them, because obviously cost of living is completely different. And hello's getting comfy in her lava bed. Then yeah, that is my 2 cents on the matter. Said it twice now. And if you've got any questions about it, let me know below. Of course, there's a Facebook group of Mr. FBA UK, where you can go ahead and post and ask questions about it, and lots of people have VAs, so they can go ahead and help you, or message me and I can give you my advice. But yeah, I'm going to leave the links for the 2 websites below, and you can take a look yourself. And there's no harm in giving it a punt on doing it yourself, because the cost isn't actually massive, and there's even a free trial. And if it doesn't work, you only lost like either nothing because you did it on free trial, or 40 quid, 30 quid, and then you can at least go, okay, I've ticked that box, I've tried that, now we need, maybe save up for a little bit and do this or something. Gonna leave it there, everyone. Any questions, leave it in the comments below, or on the Facebook group, or message me, and I'll see you on the next one, guys. Bye.